As we saw in the previous video, we have been able to custom protect with the custom preset. If you have not seen the previous video, I recommend that you watch that one first and then this one. Within the protections themselves, we have different configurations. For example, within Renumere or Control Flow, there are different parameters that we can configure to our liking. How can we configure these protections? We will do this with configuration files. In this case, it is no longer necessary to use the Shield Protections configuration because we will do it directly with configuration files. Inside the configuration files part of the documentation, we will find all the information about how the configuration files work. In this case, I am going to create one myself to show how to do it and understand how it works. There are two ways to name the file: shield.config.json, which will apply to any application, and if we want to specify a configuration file for a specific application, we can name the file with the name of the application between shield and config separated by dots. In this example, I will create a global one. I would go to my application and add a new file with the name shield.config.json. What should this file contain? In the documentation, there is the information of its structure, but basically it has a name, the type of configuration, if it inherits from a project, the type of preset, and the protections. We will go to the configuration playground of the documentation to create automatically a configuration. We put the name we want. We leave unchecked the box of inherit configurations from project because we want to protect with a custom preset, and we do not want it to inherit the preset from the project. Then we select the custom preset, and we are going to add the protections that we want to use. For this example, I will use the Renamer protection, the Control Flow protection, and the Anti-Debugger protection. If we go inside the Renamer protection, we can configure several options. In this case, I wanted to rename the public types, also to rename the XAML, also the enums, and to remove the namespaces. Inside Control Flow, I don't want to add invalid code, and automatically the configuration will be created. We copy it, we paste it in our configuration file in Visual Studio, and we give it to save. Here, we can see the Renamer parameters applied. In the protection part of the documentation, we can find all the possible parameters for each one of them, their explanation, and the type of value. Also here we can see an example of a configuration that could have the Renamer protection. It doesn't matter if we leave this because automatically, when it detects a configuration file, it will use that configuration. If we now recompile the application again, we can see that it is looking for a configuration file. It has found it and imported it correctly. So it will not use this configuration, but it will replace it with the one of our configuration file. And we would already have our application protected with the protections indicated in the configuration file that we have created. We can always add protections, remove protections, or modify the parameters of some of them. As I mentioned before, these options are omitted if we have a configuration file, so we could delete these two lines. If we save and recompile, we can see that it automatically gets our configuration file as well. Likewise, if we only wanted to protect in release mode, we would remove this line and save the file. If we recompile in debug mode, we will see that it is not protected, but if we switch to release and recompile, we can see that it starts the obfuscation process and automatically uses the configuration file. And that's it.